Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you had a great spring break. This is Miss Simmons coming at you with our new topic, which is statistics. So we're starting a new unit at the end of the week. Last time we were together, you guys finished up our geometry unit, so kudos to you. And our topic today is statistical questions. So we're going to be talking about these for the next 2 days. So again, our unit is Unit 7, and it is statistics. So here we go. All right, so statistical questions. This is where we're starting to talk about data or data, however you like to say it. And we talk about different kinds of data in math. You guys have collected data in the past, I'm sure, just by asking a simple question. Data can be described as a collection of information, essentially. Okay. So for example, it could be numbers, it can be measurements, it can be observations, and it can be descriptions of things. And then we want to break that type of information down into two types. So these are our two types of data. Okay, two types. You have categorical data. So look at that word. You should kind of hear another word that you're familiar with inside that word. If you look right here, category, it's like a category. Okay. So categorical data, this is just data that represents descriptions of things, okay? And it's often sorted into groups. So things like colors or types of restaurants, maybe. And I always forget how to spell restaurant, so I'm sorry if I spelled that wrong. You could also say like shoe brands. That's a category. Okay, these are all types of categories. And then your second type of data is numerical data. If you look right here, it also contains the word that it's talking about, which is, it doesn't really actually say it, but numerical is like numbers. Okay, so this is data that represents values that can be measured. Okay, so this is always numbers. So again, categorical data is categories, which are like descriptions. Numerical data is like numbers. These are things that can actually be broken down into numbers. All right, so here's something that we're going to do. So we're going to read each of these statements and decide whether it's going to be categorical or numerical data. So remember, categorical is like categories. The answer will be a category of some sort. Numerical means that you could answer the question with a number. All right, so let's read Luke's first. So we're going to go Luke, then DeMarcus, then Josie, and then last Heather. So we have to decide, is the data categorical or not, and then why. All right, so Luke says, I am collecting data to determine each student's favorite genre of book to read. So let's go back and see what kind of data or what kind of answer you would get for this question. I am collecting data to determine each student's favorite genre of book. So are you going to answer this question with a number? My favorite genre is 4. I don't think so. That's not going to be numerical. That is going to be categorical data. Okay, so down here we want to say that this is categorical. And then why would that be categorical data? Well, because your answer will be a category, not a number. Go away. And that's a number sign, not a hashtag. All right, so let's go over to DeMarcus. DeMarcus says, I'm collecting data to determine how many hours of sleep each student in our class gets. So this data is going to be how many hours of sleep each student is going to get. So if he asked you that question and said, how many hours of sleep do you get per night? Are you going to answer with a category? Are you going to say something like blue? No. If you do, he's going to look at you funny. So you're going to say something like, I get 7 hours of sleep a night, or I get 0 hours of sleep a night because I never sleep. That's going to be a number. So that means that your type of data here is numerical. So why is it numerical? Your answer to the question will be a number. All right, so let's move on to Josie. Josie says, I am collecting data to determine how much money each student's family spends on groceries each week. So again, let's go back to our two types. You've got categorical or numerical. Are you going to answer this question, how much money your family spends on groceries each week, with a number or a category? It should be a number. We spend $1 million each week. So numerical, your answer will be a number. All right, so move on to Heather. Let's see. Heather says, I am collecting data on the color of cars that run the stoplight in front of our school. Where is your school resource officer? Okay, so data on the color of cars. So whenever she's answering her own question of what color of car ran the stoplight, is she going to answer with a category or a number? Are colors a category, or are colors a number? They are a category. 7 is not a color. So categorical, meaning your answer will be a color, not a number. All right. So again, you've got two types of data, categorical or numerical. So let's move on. All right. This is something that I want you guys to do on your own, this top part. So identify 2 numerical and 2 categorical data sets that could be taken about a standard deck of playing cards. So if you were just looking at a deck of cards, what are 2 types of categorical or categories that you could collect data about? And then what are 2 things that you could ask that would produce a number answer or numerical data? So the things, you can pause it here and do your own. The things that I said for this one, I said you could do colors and suits of the cards here. For the numerical data, you could do something easy like how many 7s are in the deck. Or you could do something like how many times you drew a face card. There's lots of things you could do. So make that up on your own. So look down here. This is a big deal, okay? Is a yes or no question statistical? So, for example, is it going to be a category? Is it categorical? Or is it numerical? All right. So this is kind of leading into our next thing. So answer this question for yourself. Do you think that yes or no questions are statistical questions? So if I asked you, do you like the show Stranger Things? Is that going to be a statistical question? So let's see. All right, for something to be statistical, it has to meet two criteria. So it has to be these two things. The question has to be able to be answered by, what do you think it has to be answered by? Well, what have we been talking about? Data. It has to be able to be answered by data. And the data must vary. Okay, what that means is it has to have a lot of different answers that it could be. Has a lot of answers. Okay, so meaning it can't just produce one or two answers. It needs to have a lot of answers that people could say. Like, how many pets have my classmates owned? This is going to produce a lot of answers. Some people are going to say 0. Some people are going to say they've had 50 pets, which is a lot, but hey, whatever. Some people are going to say that they've had 2, 6. I can draw 6. 5. Somebody might say 2 again. This is going to produce a lot of answers. That's why we want this type of question. That's what makes it statistical. You have to be able to collect data, and you have to have a lot of answers that it could be. All right. So let's consider the question. How many movies have students in our class seen this year? All right. Is the question answered by data? Can you collect information? Does the data vary? Meaning, does it have a lot of answers? Okay. So if you answered yes to both of those things, then yes, it is statistical. Okay. Yes, this is a statistical question. So let's go down here to these 4 questions. Now I want you to pause the video here and try to answer these on your own as to whether you think they're statistical or not. So pause it here. Did you pause it? All right. So now that you've paused it and come back, what is the favorite restaurant of students in my school? So let's answer these questions up here. Is the question answered by data? Can you produce a variety of answers? Okay, so is the question answered by data? Well, yeah, you could collect data on that. People can tell you different restaurants. And does the data vary? Are there going to be a lot of answers? If you answered yes to both of those, then it is statistical. Okay, so it's got a variety of answers, and you can collect data. Okay, I'm going to change colors because that one's not showing up so good. All right, how about purple? All right, how many years have the students on my school soccer team played sports? Okay, can you answer the question with data, meaning can you get information? I would say yes. Okay. Does the data given vary? Do you think that those soccer players are going to tell different numbers? I would say yes, because not everyone has played soccer the same amount. So yes, this is statistical. Again, you'll get a variety of answers, and you can ask multiple people. You can collect data. Okay. How many siblings do you have? This is not statistical. Okay. Can you answer the question by data? Well, yeah, you can get an answer to it, but is the data going to vary? Are you going to be able to get a lot of answers by just asking one person? No. If it says you, that's one person. That's not a variety. All right. Then, how many pets does Mrs. Jackson own? So, can you collect data from it? Yeah, you can get an answer. Is the data going to vary? No. So this is not statistical. Mrs. Jackson is one person. It is not statistical. All right, so at this point, we're pretty much finished. I hope you guys have learned something. Remember, sum it up. Statistical questions produce data, meaning you can get answers from it, and you have to get a lot of different answers from it. You got two types, categorical and numerical. Have a wonderful day, guys.